Good afternoon. Welcome to the Kingston City Land Bank's first meeting in 2025 of its Public Acquisition, Disposition, and Construction Committee. My name is Mike. I serve as the meeting's moderator. We do ask members of the public to limit their comments no more than 2 minutes per speaker. And with that, we will begin the meeting. The first agenda item that helps get me off the stage is for this group to elect a chair. Would anyone like to volunteer?
I would happily and with great joy continue serving as chair if people would be open to that. But
Oh, noted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a heart from Barbara.
Oh yeah, third, fourth.
Okay. And the motion, how do you, I'm not doing this right, but how do you vote? Let's, all in favor?
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Chair. The floor is yours.
thank you all. Welcome back to 2025 ADC. And hello, Rebecca. Welcome. All you've missed is the chair vote, and I asked it if I, to continue to be chair, and there was a vote, and if you're okay with that theory, thank you. And so we are proceeding from there. So committee meeting schedule. This time works for me, but I am also open to other times if this doesn't work or won't work going forward for other people. Does it not work for anybody at this time?
Hard to say going forward.
So then let's just keep it here for now, and we can always adjust if something gets in the way. That's great. It's always terrible to schedule with this many people, so that's great. Fantastic. So with that, then we'll move on to Keystone financing and construction updates. Kyle and Owen, I leave it to you just to battle it out, decide who wants to go first. Give us your updates for this month. I'm here. I'm gonna be off video today, but I'm or in and out of video, but I'm here for the whole thing.
I can jump in.
There we go.
So,
You got it.
As we know, we're in the middle of Keystone construction projects, and we've got 6 houses under construction, 4 which we're about to we've been marketing and about to award in the lottery later this month. And so that's Chapel, Abbey, Stefan, and Gil. Chapel is officially working on, Chapel is working on a punch list. We'll have a final inspection any day now. Abbey Street is close behind it. All these 3 with Stefan have a substantial completion date. That's the end of this month, basically, and Stefan's on track for that. Gill Street has a substantial completion date of middle of February, and is still the one that is like really struggling to keep up schedule wise, but there's a lot of energy going into it. And at this point, it's not for lack of trying any schedule issues. It's more just that by not catching up earlier in the process, now they've got kind of created a situation where everything has to go right and everybody's got to show up in the right sequence and stuff like that. So all the materials have to come. So we're kind of triaging things that are going to cause any delays. And so let me pull up my sheet here. Can everybody see this? Okay, great. So I sent one a couple days ago, and I apologize that I've actually edited it a little bit since then as things develop. But I just want to be showing you kind of like the most up to date at the moment. It's not drastically different from what I sent you, but um, uh, schedule wise, I'll bring your attention to the bottom here where we're looking at the difference between where, based on the date, would expect things to be, and then um, where things are as far as money that's being requisitioned for. So, um, if a project is supposed to be, looks like it's 89% done, and everybody's agreed to that. We haven't paid it out yet, but we've kind of agreed to that. So, um, yeah, the four projects that are supposed to be wrapping up are are solid, except for Gil, who's scrambling to catch up. And I think I don't think we're not gonna adjust this completion date with the contractor, and I think that's still what everybody's shooting for. Um, as far as contingency, still doing overall great on contingency. We've moved this what was a kind of pending potential change order with Grand from pending zone to into contract, which is this structural redo of the front area of Grand Street, which is underway now. Um, so yeah, we've got less going on in the pending zone, and still overall very comfortable with the contingency, even though Grand is more than 50% committed.
Aaron, did that change order with Grand, did that require architectural, like new drawings and new to be reviewed by the city, or was that able to be done with existing drawings?
Yeah, it started with engineering drawings. So we
It did, yeah.
yeah, it started with the contractors pointing out that now that we had that section opened up, that it's the 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 things that we assume might help us make that part of the house come together weren't present, and so when we pulled the engineer in and had them check out um, what was actually there and come up with a new plan, including expanding a little bit the structural scope there, so it didn't feel like we were building a bunch that was on top of stuff that wasn't really worthy of holding it up, basically. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
My one other question was, it sounds from what you're saying that Bill, is still kind of behind the initial schedule, but is moving forward and things are happening, which is great. Just thinking about timelines as we do the lottery in a little over a week. From what you're saying, it sounds like there, even if we miss the current completion date, it won't be too far behind. You'll let us know, I guess, or kind of with ample time if there's any chance that it won't be done by the time we actually close, right? At that point, that's 90 days later.
yeah, that that won't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, the biggest issue is that in order for the 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 closing clock to start ticking, we have to get them through with a home inspector, and
Yeah.
and probably have to show somebody lead clearance testing and radon testing potentially. I'm looking at you, Mike, to fact check that, but we've had to do various pieces of that in the past, at least. So we are there are parts of what's involved with substantial completion that um, start off the closing countdown, and so we got to get those parts in place, even if there's little punch list items or painting touch ups or whatever. But we can't be at a point where we feel shy about bringing a home inspector in because we're still wrapping up some, there's no kitchen faucet or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I get the contractors mentally prepared that we're rushing and rushing and rushing, and then the place is going to sit empty for a little bit, and that's just what has to happen. Is that we have to get to that point so that we can get things moving with the contract.
Any other questions for Owen as we finish up these first 4 homes? That's great. Thank you, Owen.
Yeah, I'll bring you some photos next time, or maybe we'll do a little slideshow or something in lieu of bringing people around for another tour. But they're coming out nicely. I'm happy with them.
They've had Grand Street covered for a while. Is that just because the porch, they're redoing the porch there?
Yeah, yeah. It's got well, it's got like 2x4s hanging, holding up the upper portion of the building, like the porch roof
Oh,
or
sure.
building roof, and then they have it covered so that they can they're pouring cement under it and working under there. But like the whole part under the roof is gone now while they're rebuilding it.
So we'd like to hear.
Perfect weather for for all of that kind of work. Actually impressive.
Love to see some pictures. That'd be great. Just wherever. If you're hanging around and looking at the houses, snap some pictures. That'd be great. Nice to see. Well done, Owen.
Thanks.
You're here. And yes. I don't have anything to add other than that it's amazing that Owen's execution that he planned out so long ago is coming to pass. It really took a lot of planning up front, and it's really great to see how well we were able to execute. So you're here,
Yeah.
Owen.
Thank you. I'll accept passing the back in another month and a half. Let me land the plane first, but yeah.
Totally.
Smart.
Gifts, perhaps.
Mhm.
Bottles of wine.
All right, Kyle.
Ready? Cool. So this is actually similar to what I had sent around last month. Last month was pending Rec 12. This just shows the final numbers for Rec 12. We got the pay apps in today, which is the bulk of each of these requisitions. So I'll be updating that by the time we go to our board meeting. I'll have an updated schedule here, but the main things to report here is that we've drawn down all of our LBI funds we have allocated towards pre-development. So that means we've started to pull from Novo for any kind of soft cost on the project, anything beyond, the construction costs that Owen is reporting on. And that also means that we're starting to pull down more ARPA funds as well. So this month, expect to see the Novo number increased a little bit and ARPA numbers increase significantly. Also, there's still around 20%, a little bit under 25% of the LBI funds that we haven't expended yet. That's going to come from hard costs. So that will continue to draw down as we go forward. So this kind of echoes what Owen was saying. Again, this is about a month back. We expect these numbers to increase, but about 70% drawn on Chapel, 70% on Abbey, 60% on Stefan, and then 45% on Gill, and then a little bit underway on Hasbrook and Grand. So I'll have more updated numbers next week, but that's the latest on the financing. If anybody has any questions.
Nothing from me immediately. Anybody else?
Nope, looks good.
The only other thing I want to report on this is the lottery, the latest on the potential applicants. We received an update this afternoon from our housing counselor, the Rupco, that we expect there to be there's tentatively 12 households that are going to be in the lottery. We have a good mix of households that qualify for each of the homes. You know, the guild is slightly smaller, so that it's a more limited pool. But yeah, we expect to be there to be at least 12 households that compete for this lottery, which is good. We'll get you know, should give us a strong pool with applicants and alternates, and then yeah, hopefully we can populate some of our next lottery with some of these people if it doesn't work out, and yeah, we'll be sure to make people aware that yeah, going forward, there's gonna be more opportunities to get homes. So, yeah, anything else, Mike, you want to add on the lottery stuff?
No, I think you did it. Thanks.
All right,
Um,
thanks.
Is
So
there,
there's-
or when
go
do
ahead,
we,
Rebecca.
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
I raised my hand. Is there a chance to review the meeting of the lottery, where the lottery is happening and how we're doing that, and translator or not translator, or is there a moment that we are going to discuss that, or have we passed that moment?
No, we can do that right now. We have been working on it in advance of this meeting based on your suggestion at the last meeting. We haven't finished our, I guess we call them rehearsals. So we've been meeting in council chambers, City Hall. Kyle, thankfully, is only on Zoom, so he doesn't have to travel. Our current plan will include, and we've confirmed, a Spanish translator in person. That's part number one. We will be conducting it most likely, but I believe it is the case. We'll be using a bingo cage with ping pong balls, and it does allow for I believe, the greatest degree of transparency, because there will be a webcam on the ping pong balls, and there will be, accessible process, hopefully, for everyone to understand what's happening, that we will explain beforehand. Rupco will also be present. The homeownership counselor had asked if he could come, so that'll be a friendly face in the crowd for folks who've been working with them. We will have this meeting, or this part of the meeting, in council chambers. At the conclusion of the lottery, which is something that I think we learned last year, we will announce that the lottery is concluded, and that the next step should be to reach out to your homeownership counselor, probably still be in the room for next steps, and that we will now move our meeting into conference room 1. That does that answer your question? That's kind of the rundown of where we're at.
Yeah, that's helpful
So-
for me.
We'll
Go ahead.
move locations. That seems like a good idea. Okay, because we didn't do
Yeah.
that last time.
We did
We'll
not.
we'll tell people like the lottery's done, and it's a public meeting. They're welcome to join us in the next room. But we're just going to move on with our kind of regular board meeting. And I think we are going to try to do kind of the last one. I think Rebecca, you were the one who noted that we were kind of facing ourselves. We didn't have a public, we weren't really facing the people who this was ostensibly for. They weren't really communicating as much, and it was kind of just because I think it was the first time we had done it in that way, in that room, and doing it. And so
Yep.
I think one of the goals for this time is to reorient it for that piece of the meeting towards the people who are there.
I think that sounds great. Is there going to be a drum roll every time we spin the thing? No?
So,
I told Mike I had some discomfort with the bingo thing because I thought it made it look like too much like a game kind of thing. And then I spent like 45 minutes watching other organizations do their own lotteries on YouTube, which you can do, and nobody has a better system. it's unfortunate that no one's come up with a way to thread all the nuances that we need without the bingo, without it's numbers in a hat or bingo balls, and that's what it is.
I guess I'm just curious about, so let's say for one of the homes out of those 12, there are 8 families that qualify or 6 for that particular home that we're, and then they also have prioritized which homes they want. So how does that work with the lottery and then also the preference for certain families that are, like, I'm just curious. And does each family keep their number for each drawing, or do they get different number? Like, how does all of that?
Kyle, I think
So-
you created this particular process. Oh, sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk through how we're thinking about doing it. So it won't be a home by home lottery. What it'll
Okay.
be is it'll be just a drawing
Family.
of all of the families in order. So the first family will get their first preference household if it's available. It will be available. Second person will get their first preference if it's available. If not, they'll get their second preference, and so on down the line until every house is filled, and they'll only be able to get the houses that they're eligible for. And then, yeah, we'll have alternates for each pool of house, each group of houses. So alternates for people who only qualify for the larger houses, and then one alternate for, yeah,
For Gil.
just for Gil. Yeah.
Well, I think there'll just be
yeah.
one list of alternates, but like if Gil needs an alternate, but the alternate number 1 doesn't qualify for Gil, then we go to alternate number 2. We go to the top ranked alternate that qualifies for the house that needs an alternate.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
No, sorry,
ahead, sorry.
but people don't have to be there, so some of this will be a little bit delayed if they're not in the room, I imagine. Because do they have to? It's whatever. That's fine, and we'll figure that out. But that's helpful to know while we're there, what's going on.
And we're
Um,
gonna try. Go ahead. Sorry, Rebecca.
No, it's okay. I just want to know if the people that are eligible for the lottery will get an email from their housing counselor, obviously saying this
Yes.
is when the lottery is. But also in that lottery, is there a small explanation of how it will proceed? Like a written
Yes.
explanation of how it will proceed? Okay, great. Because it's
Yes.
that will be sent out in Spanish and English both, right?
Repco has sent that out. I don't know if they sent it in Spanish and English, but I assume it was appropriate with the people that they've been working with, that it's in the
Oh.
language that they're working with them in.
I hope so.
Yes, and we are working on a script of sorts that would be read at the onset, to your point, Rebecca, to explain what this is. I think also we need to outline the municipal preference policy that's been applied to this lottery and the ramifications of that. We're still getting in the information from Repco about, families, case numbers, preferences, how many points they have, and so the universe of exactly how this looks is still, it's shaping up. It will, by the end of next week, we'll have it all settled.
The higher the tension, the lower the comprehension rate, right? So
Yeah.
giving people as many sources as, I mean, that's just education, right? It's as many sources as possible to refer back to. It's just, I think, useful. So that's what I would want.
In
I would
addition to
be able to read it and then go, Sorry, Aaron?
No, sorry, my apologies. I think my audio is delayed. I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I was just going to say, we talked about also, in addition to like verbally writing down the names as we pick them, we're verbally saying them. We're also going to be writing them down live, so that if you don't get it in that moment, you can sit there and see it there. Yeah, and then obviously the follow-up will be important, but tried to make it as explicit as possible and repetitive as possible, which makes, right now the text of it is a little long, of that introduction is a little long, but I'd rather go long and make sure people actually understand what they're watching than make it kind of unintelligible to them.
Thank you very much for doing all this work to make it clear and intelligible for the people. I appreciate it.
Thank you for advocating for it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that was your idea,
Sure.
Rebecca.
I don't know about those
Nate?
bingo balls. I can't wait. Yeah. I think the next logo for the Kingston Land Bank is a couple of random, like on the back, it has a bingo. No?
Nate, do you have any questions about this? Just wanted to make sure at this point that the process is at least being explained clearly now. It will be more so next week.
No, it sounds good. I think we'll crystallize it next week when we have more info.
Awesome. Thanks. That'd be great.
All right. So next agenda item is we did Keystone. Let's go to the home HDev pre-development updates. We also talked earlier today in communications about renaming that project before the announcement. So hopefully by our next committee meeting of ADC, that project will have a new and better name. But for now, home HDev updates. Mike or Kyle, what do we have this month?
Kyle knows everything I do. Do you want to jump in, Kyle? If you're not to put you on the spot. Only for that.
Sure. We just got a last round of questions on our application that we had submitted, I believe it was late November originally. Yeah, it appeared to be just kind of like a final round of questions before it's submitted for final consideration of the head of the program. And we were told that we expect this to we expect our application to be approved, and that would be formally approved in early February, I believe was the date. So yeah, we've sent everything in. We may get another round of questions from the program administrator, but hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, we expect this to be approved in February and then to enter in the pre-development process of these homes, which will start environmental review, is kind of the major thing on the timeline going forward from my end. But yeah, good news there. Just move forward pretty soon.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
When we have the award, is there a sense of like how long the timeline would be to actually? I don't even know. I mean, I guess this is the new process for us, modular. Never done that before, so who knows what the timelines are?
That would be that. I agree with that. We don't know yet, but we will, and it will be exciting to map it out. There aren't that many other awardees, and each one has a different type of project. For example, in Oswego, they informed us I think it's 2 rehabs and 1 modular as the universe of what they're doing. And so the state is learning as well. But they did start the meeting by saying, we want you to know that, once we get through this, we think it should be a little faster, which is good.
And maybe
Nice.
we know this already, or they will let us know, but is there a time of like beginning and completion required with the funds? Like, does the project have to be wrapped up by a certain point, or is that not specified?
I think we were asked to shoehorn into a 36-month schedule in our application, and that feels like more than enough time, but that's a home requirement. These are sort of the big federal program dictating some of these parameters. So.
Okay.
Worth noting that for our first new construction project, just how astronomical the costs are. Kyle would have Mike would know better than me, but I think last time they told me it was going to be about $1,000 a square foot, and that was cheaper than building on site. Is that right?
We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, Owen, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to get Aaron to wash his mouth out from saying astronomical.
Sorry, just affordable enough to make the numbers work.
Yeah.
Building from the ground up, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had a wonderful meeting with a very intelligent person who reminded me that maybe 70% of costs are going to be from the ground up, and the before we ever put the box on top, right? So that's what I learned this week. And so those costs I would think would be relatively predictable right? The only thing that's new here is the box on top. Is that correct?
Well, we haven't poured a foundation before and put in grounds for new construction, and so all of it for this organization will kind of be a learning experience. But I do think one of the most exciting pieces of it is that it's replicable if it works, and currently it works on paper. So,
But we're not using a 3D printer and a liquid liquid concrete product to do the foundation. Not
you can ask
yet.
Owen what he's thinking, but
Unlikely.
Such a
he'd like
thing.
to. Unlikely, you said that.
They do exist, actually, but
Totally.
but we are replicating what I'm sure Owen has done before, which right, or other people have done, which is to lay a foundation and run plumbing and stuff in Kingston. So I'm just saying, Aaron, we have some predictability in terms of understanding and budgeting, et cetera, right?
Yep.
That was my point. Not that we should get a 3D
Certainly hope
printer.
so.
Yeah.
Totally. That's great. Well, I hope we have good news then soon.
Yes.
So then before we go into executive session, Mike, you had followed up with 2 additional items. Can both of these be done out of executive session, or should the disposition policy? Okay.
Just general updates. There's nothing specific that I wanted to mention other than maybe just some more detail on each one of these processes. So the City of Kingston's development partner RFI that we responded to, no updates on terms of timeline, but the city has said that there were 6 respondents total. I just wanted to share that with this group. That's the universe of folks who responded, which is actually, bodes well for a favorable interest by the community towards this. The state of New York, I think, Aaron, maybe you mentioned this to me, is also including a similar type of mechanism for $100 million. So it's an idea that's gaining traction. And people
it was in the
funding
governor's state of the. It was in the governor's state of the state. Although I don't think there's actually been a number attached to it yet. 100 million was something I heard from a friend, but I don't know if that's a real number or not.
This time of year, nothing's a real number in the budget.
Yeah, so we'll see. But there's a bill in the state legislature. The Senate bill I know is Rachel May, and I can't remember who's the assembly member that would fund create like a similar kind of thing, like a joint venture fund for the state.
So more to come on that as it develops. Similarly, the ongoing conversation with the City of Kingston around its disposition policy, no major updates other than to indicate that the City of Kingston today, I guess, has released 2 RFPs to secure outside counsel to help them with the process of Article 19A and Article 11 properties. So they're putting resources behind this. Our conversations are ongoing about what policy could look like this year, but I believe in the coming months I'll have some more updates.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
And in case he's off the board but still watching, thank you, Bartek. So there are a couple of executive session items today. Unless anybody else has business for outside of executive session. Anybody else have business they want to discuss today? Then, if not, then I will entertain a motion to move to executive session to discuss the Grand Slam Bar redevelopment and planning around 488 Hasbrook.
Motion to move to executive session.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we are in executive. Thank you. Welcome back to the public meeting of ADC for January 2025. We have reached the end of our agenda, and I will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting of the ADC committee.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll take that as a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Have
a
a
good
great
weekend.
weekend. We'll talk and we'll see you all. I'll see you all soon.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Thanks.